Making friends is hard as an adult, but there's a special difficulty to it as a parent. Suddenly, you have less time and less energy, but the same need for connection. You need to be able to speak with people who aren't children, but you need them to be cool with children. Expectations are different. Life is different. In many ways, you are different. And finding friends becomes a many-layered thing that we may not always want to spend time on. But we have to. And today, I'm talking with a friend of mine about this very thing and more. I'm Arianna Bradford, and this is the NYAM Project Podcast. As I've mentioned, I'm Arianna, and this is the NYAM Project Podcast, and you're listening to episode 2. Some of my best friends are parents. I met Andrea what feels like a long time ago, but it was actually only a few years back. I was living in Austin, and at the time, I struggled with feeling as if I didn't belong anywhere. All the moms I'd met were nice, but they weren't my people. And Andrea was the first person I met who was. She was one of the first mothers to work with me when NYAM was in its infancy, and now I'd like you to get to know a little bit more about her.
My name is Andrea, and I was born and raised in Austin, so I'm one of the few people who actually belongs here. I have one kid. It's a boy, and his name is Logan, and we didn't name him after Wolverine, but we also didn't not name him after Wolverine. So there's that. He's not really sure who that is yet, but since we just got Disney Plus, that whole thing is there. So guess what we're doing for the summer? And oh God, what else? I'm supposed to talk about myself. I work in a dental office. That's cool. What else? Give me prompts. What do I do? What is good? We're not going to have any more kids because the baby stage is awful and some people love it. Yay. But oh my God, no. And, so yeah, that's not happening, but we might adopt, and that's a cool thing. And Logan just told me yesterday, I said, is there something you've been, waiting for a long time? It was a whole discussion. He was like, a brother. And I was like, shit. So I was like, change the topic really fast. And so I was like, okay, I should talk Troy.
And you're married to your high school sweetheart, yeah?
Yes, I am. We're both awesome. We made it work. So, it got long enough that I was like, hey, it's been like 5 years and I don't hate your face. We should probably just keep this going.
Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why bother?
For the record, I still now, let's see, it'll be last year, October, it was 2019, 18 years. Oh, shit. 19 minus 1. It's 18. 18 years. And I still, seriously, like straight face, wake up and I'm like, oh, like, because they're always like, you're gonna have those days where you want to punch your spouse in the face, or you're gonna hate him. I'm like, well, it's like every day, but for like 3 seconds. Otherwise, I love him. So it's not a morning thing. It's fine. I wake up and I'm like, cool, shut up. It's really early, but I love you anyway.
I love you anyway. Aw, that's really sweet.
I know.
I know. I'm so sweet. It's adorable.
I can't help it. It just happens. People will ask me, they're like, so how many generations Austin are you? I'm like, I don't fucking know. At least 2. 2. I've been here since my parents also were here. Like, is that good? Logan is 3.
I don't really know. Why are you asking me this question? You're making me do math.
You're a unicorn. You're a unicorn. And I'm like, no, I'm not. All the people I know are from here. You're the one that won't get out of our fucking faces.
Hey, I'm not originally from Austin, but if I was to move back, I'm pretty sure I would be welcome. Pretty sure.
Well, yeah, but that's because I'm the committee and I allow it. So.
Oh, you're the Austin committee.
Yeah, I am the Austin committee. And really, I'm like bitchier about it than I really feel. Like when people we went somewhere, blah blah blah. And we came back, we flew back, and we were like waiting outside the airport for an Uber. And there was a guy sitting on a rock, and I was like, let's talk to him. So I asked him like where he's coming from, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm actually leaving. I came here for a trip and I actually like it here. I'm thinking about moving. And I was like, I swear to God, if you tell anyone that I said this, I will deny it. But you should. It's really awesome here. But if anyone asks, this Austinite told you to go fuck yourself. And I do not think he understood the sarcasm in that as much as I was hoping he would. So I was like, okay, bye. I was here. So if there's an off chance that guy hears this, I didn't mean to be mean. And yay, you're here. Cursing is my love language.
See, sarcasm is, that's one of the things I've always appreciated about you, to be honest. Like, I still remember meeting you, and I was like, I want to say 5 months pregnant with the youngest. And, but anyway, yeah, I do remember that the thing that made me want to talk to you initially was that I could hear in your voice that you, like, there was something about your voice. I still, to this day, if somebody asked me to put my finger on it, I would not be able to. But I remember that there was something about your voice when you spoke that just let me know that you were
one of you.
You were. I mean, my exact thought, if we're being honest, was, oh my God, she's an asshole just like me. I was just
funny. Like, you should have used that word, right?
Right. Like, I was just kind of like, wow, I could just tell. I was like, she's got that same like sarcastic lilt to her voice. I feel like we would get along. And it was when we were meeting with that group that was, they were nice enough, but they were definitely.
Oh, you don't have to remind me. No, you don't have to remind me. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember. It was for those listening though, it was a group that, they were very kind, but they were kind of more on the crunchy side. It was definitely a group that was very much like, we were sitting there with our like baggies of goldfish crackers, and it was kind of like, did you make that by yourself? Like, no.
Yes, I have the stamp. I made it.
Wow.
What I remember most though is that we had this like 4-hour conversation by text after that. If you had been a man, could have been very suspicious to Troy, because it just was like
that.
I was like on the couch by myself, like typing to somebody and like laughing and giggling and I'm sure half of it was me laughing at myself because I just think I'm fantastic. But oh man.
I always really appreciated the fact that like it was immediate and it was just obvious. I was like, I have found a person who's just like me, and that made me feel so much better about myself that day.
Do you know how I knew that you were cool? I was like, I can say whatever to her. Is that you were the only one who had kind of like a deep voice like me, because everybody else talks like this. And they're like, oh my God, little Joey did this thing. No, not Joey. Oh my God, little Snowflake Sparrow did this thing. And it was the most glorious thing. I would have gotten it on video, but I was trying to have real time with the child. I'm like, oh fuck. And then, they're all really nice. And they're like, oh, let's include you as we slowly push our shoulders together. Like, well, going to the next group.
Actually, I had mentioned possibly talking about this before, because I think that you and I both go through that same kind of struggle, because and I think like all moms do, to be honest, but I feel like it constantly felt like we were and I'm stop me if I'm speaking for us and I'm wrong, but I feel like we both kind of went through this thing where it was like it was very hard to find groups we fit into, because, we kind of had that attitude of, yeah, I love my kid. Like, they're sweet and all, but I would really like it if they would go away for a while. like
not in a bad way, just in a way that's like, I don't see your face or like have to have you touch me for like 6 or 7 days. No, for like an hour.
Like 6 or 7 days. Like,
but
perhaps
like really like going to that was more about like, okay, so the way that I test other moms is like, I'll say something relatively benign and be like, and I was like, oh shit, and then be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I said shit, and they're like, oh, that's fine. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, then we can talk, it's good. Okay, so anyway. And like, so I like test the waters that way and see whether or not it's going to be good. It really, that's what not play dates, but like what we did was like, I was trying to find a mom that we could like mutually both ignore and not ignore our children while we were together. It's like, make sure they're safe, but be cool, like with them, like entertaining themselves. Cause and you know, to be honest, and this is like awful. It's not awful. Screw that. Okay. I don't like other kids. I don't care about them. If you're my friend, all children start at neutral. If you're my friend's kid, you'll probably either go up or stay at neutral because I'll have a higher tolerance if you're like an asshole. But man, I don't care about your kid. Oh God. I'm there to talk to you. I don't want to see all the videos you have.
No, and I mean, you know, I've known that about you. Like, I've always known that about you because I remember us talking about that before, and you were like, to be 100% honest, like, you know, I love my kid, but I've never really been like a huge other people's kids person, and I didn't really see anything wrong with that. Like, it's not like you hate kids. Like, you're not like, oh my gosh, they're disgusting. Like, I remember still being able to trust you if, like, we never actually had to do this, but I remember you offering a couple times when things, you know, were going sideways, that if I needed you to watch, you know, my son or my daughter, that you were like, if you need me to, I will. It just wasn't one of those things that was like, you know, you're not excited to always be around kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think that sometimes we lose we lose track of the fact that, like, I speak good. But like, I feel like we lose track of the fact that, like, play dates are like just as much about us as they are about the kids. Like, yeah, you're there to like make sure that they don't kill each other or themselves, but it's also for you to get together with people who aren't going to judge you if you're, you know.
I don't know. Play dates are kind of like, at least in the beginning, like mommy auditions. Like, I'm gonna judge the shit out of you because I wanted to figure out if you're like worth my time to actually like get to know you. So
no, for sure. Well, like, okay, so here's the thing. I have actually been saying pretty often, and I still say it, that like, I don't believe in telling people not to judge because judging is normal. Like,
it is,
because judging is how you decide, like, is this person a friend of mine? Is this person not going to be a friend of mine? Do I want this person to darken my doorway ever again? Like, that's how you make decisions. You judge. That's natural. The problem that I have is that because we're in like this age now where, you know, everybody feels like their opinion matters for everything. People don't realize that there's a difference between like making a judgment to make a decision for yourself and just being judgy out loud for the sake of being an asshole.
You know, those people, they have had to have come up with a word by now that we just don't know because we're not stupid, but is like the Fifi's version. Did I learn Fifi's from you, or did you learn that from me?
You learned it from me.
Oh God.
Fifi's.
Like the Fifi's version is just like, you know, they don't judge, they quibble or some shit like that, where it's like, oh, that sounds so much nicer and I might get a hug after. And it's like, judging is not a bad word, but for your sake, you can't handle it.
The whole point of a play date, the whole point of these mom dates in the beginning anyway, is to judge. It's not necessarily to judge, what's I'm looking for here? It's not necessarily to judge in a mean way. It's not like, you know, the whole point is not to exclude, but it is to kind of sniff them out and figure out, like, can we be friends? Can we not be friends? Like, that's kind of the whole point. And I do think that because some people have used judgment to shame, that we have started using those words interchangeably, and that's not the same thing.
That's true.
So, you know, I feel like that kind of, honestly, that was one of the things that I think caused us to get along in the first place, was the fact that we were like, yeah, like, I have a judgment about this thing. Am I going to yell it at the person that I'm judging? No, but I did think this thing, and that's going to help me make a decision. So I don't really think that there's anything wrong with that. I agree.
We need to adjust our beliefs about what friendship should be once we become parents. While we can expect some things to remain the same, some of our requirements aren't realistic anymore, so it becomes necessary to change them a bit.
I will say that I feel like there is a fear of shaming to the point where it's even harder to find your person because you are afraid of what might happen. Like, I'm actually the exact same way about swearing that you are. Like, when I'm around people, new people, I'm like, so I'm going to warn you, I curse like a sailor.
I wait to see what they
Yes.
say. And
I
if
say
they're
salty
like,
talk.
oh,
I'm salty talk.
yeah. And if they're like, oh, well, then I'm like, okay, we might not get along because, not because I like have to swear, but if it automatically comes out, I don't want you to like hate me forever because you're like, now you've taught little Justin how to say shit. And then it's going to be like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But like, it's just to see like how realistically can I talk to this person? Can I talk to this person as me, or am I always going to have a filter on? And you can be friends with people who you have to have a filter on with, but I feel like the real inner circle, like the people who you can trust, those are the people who you can like drop the charade with.
Are you going to be someone that I can tell that I have a UTI and so I don't want to go swimming? Or am I going to have to lie and be like, I'm so bloated and I can't do that?
That time of the month.
Guess I'll put in some extra protection.
No. And it depends from person to person. The definition like changes all the time, right? Like what makes a person the perfect friend? Like you can never really figure that out for every single person. And it's not like, this is another thing, and I think you'd agree with me on this as well. Not every single person.
That's presumptuous.
Shut up. Anyway. I don't think that every single person has to be your best friend either. Like every single person that you meet does not have to be like somebody that you're going to hang out with forever. Would you agree on that?
Oh, 100%. Long story short, I'm a person that like, I want to make friends. Yeah. Guess what? We're going to lose touch. Like you and I, we're like, we'll talk all the time. And then I'm like, hey, it's been 6 months. How are you doing? We'll have a phone call every month. I think that lasted for 2 months.
It did.
Like even in like, I live in the same city as, well, okay, so to be fair, like all of my friends live in like Hutto and Pflugerville and Round Rock, and fuck those places because, oh my God, that's a really far drive. And they're like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, no, I don't want to drive out there. Do you want to drive down here? But so it's like, but even like in town, it's hard for me, like not keep friendships, but it would be like a friend I feel like people feel like are good enough to like put the work in for. Mm-hmm. Like all of the women that were in our group that we put together that was also has disbanded, but not disbanded. Yeah. Like, I believe all of them would like drop their shit and be like, Andrea needs help. Right. But like, yeah, it's mom relationships are weird.
They are. But you know what? They kind of make sense. Like we have, as a matter of fact, we have less time to ourselves than we used to. So it's not like, mm-hmm. I remember seeing this thing online that irritated me where it was like, the friends.
I think I know what it is. No,
I bet you do, because you probably got irritated with it too. The things that are like, if I text you or call you and you can drop everything right away to come help me, then you're a real friend. And I was like, that's not realistic now. Like that.
I feel like you should have added share if you agree after that.
Share if you agree. Or like double tap to, yeah, no, it was like one of those things where I was like, that's not realistic now. Like if I have a sick kid at home and you text me and you're like, drop something to come to my house because I'm sad, I'm not a bad friend. I know this for a fact, but I am not going to tell you, okay, I'm going to go ahead and drop everything to come and talk. I would be like, listen, you feel free to text me. If you want to call me, you can call me in a minute after my kid is, down for the day or whatever. Uh-huh. But I don't think that it necessarily is realistic for you to be telling a parent friend or to be saying that you're looking for a parent friend who's going to just drop everything and come to your house on a whim.
There are definitely some people that I will do that more easily for than others, but most of the time I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, I got to do this thing. I have this little person I got to keep alive.
Exactly. You only have so much free time, and you start kind of being like, who do I want to spend that free time with? Do I want to me? Yeah. So, you're like, you want to spend that free time in the best way you know how. And sometimes that's going to be with your family. Sometimes because you have kids that are crawling all over you and won't get the hell out of your face, it's going to be spending time by yourself. And so, now you have to kind of decide when you're going to fit other people into it. And so sometimes the people that you're going to fit into that are like people you see once a month or once every 2 months. And that doesn't mean you don't care about them. It just means that, you know, you have to make priorities in your life. And that just, you know, social stuff might not be the biggest priority at that moment.
You know what you made me just realize is that I'm actually seeing her today. I have a friend who's not a parent, and she is like, hey, you want to get together once a month? I'm like, yeah. She's like, hey, you want to plan ahead like a month? I'm like, yes. Like, I don't know if it's just completely foreign to me to have people be that like understanding when they don't have their own kids, but man, like, I don't know if she wants me to say anything, but business partner, shout out. You're fucking awesome. Like, we used to be business partners. Now we're just business friend partners. I don't know. Anyway.
I feel like you could just say friends and that would still be partners, Andrea.
No, it's more. It's more. Like, we went through a failed business together. Like, we're not just friends. She's still my work wife. We call each other work wives. Aww. We were the only employees, but we're work wives. So.
No, I mean, that's awesome. And that's the thing though. Like,
I feel like those people can be rare.
Yeah, well, they are rare. And they're rare as parents. They're rare as people with their own kids. I feel like a lot of people, because what a lot of people want, and it's funny because I did some research for my book and found this out, that like 50% of parents generally like feel isolated and alone. And so what they tend to do is they tend to want somebody to fix that isolation, which is, you know, it's understandable. Like, that's why you have friends, right? To not isolate yourself.
Yeah.
But I think that because of that isolation, there is this unrealistic view of like, well, I get lonely twice a week, so we should see each other twice a week. And it's like, that's not going to work for everybody. And I mean, I have people who I get along with really well, who the entire month of December, my entire family was sick on and off. And I did not see them all of December. That's like, not that I don't care. I was like, hey, my husband's puking and I don't want to visit that upon you. So stay away from me.
We're individually trying not to die one at a time. And I don't want to bring that to you.
We're being taken down by the plague. So
yeah, exactly.
Stay away from my house. One of the things that I've greatly appreciated about your and my relationship is even when we don't talk for long periods of time, when we do talk, it's still positive. It still feels like
it's like we talked yesterday.
Yeah. It still feels like you're friends. And I think that, you know, it's hard to find that kind of thing, especially in the kind of, you know, in the life that we're in as parents. I think that's hard. But I think that it's also worth the effort. And I'm not even saying that I'm perfect at it. I actually have had numerous times that I've been like, man, I should be reaching out to my friends, and instead I am procrastinating. But it's still worth it to keep, because people like you, friends like you, friends that you can, you know, reach out to and talk to, those in a way. And people always cringe when you use the term self-care, but friends are a form of self-care.
I love that word. Everybody else can shut up.
Oh, there are a lot of people that hate it. They hate it because they feel like it's just kind of been overused. And
it absolutely has.
Yeah. And that it's being used to make people feel like, well, if you just took better care of yourself, things would be easier. And it's like, I still actually like the term. I just think that we need to understand what it actually means.
I think when people think of self-care, because at first I liked it in the beginning, because I was like, oh, cool, new term, that makes sense, I like it. And then I heard it a lot and I was like, fuck. And then I kind of was like, well, I think the reason I don't like it so much is because I'm equating it with kind of the same idea of like fifis. And I was like, no, it's just a good ass term. It's a good term.
It's a good term.
And it's not like, it's not an alternative to, you're one selfish asshole. Oh no, it's self-care. Like, no, that's a real thing.
It is a real thing. It's 100% a real thing. And like, you know, there are so many different ways to take care of yourself that really don't cost anything. Like I said, like friends, for example. Yeah. Friends are a way of doing
sometimes they
that.
Cost.
Huh?
Yeah. So, well, sometimes they cost.
Well, sometimes, but they're not supposed to. That's the point. But you know, there's that. There's like, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of realizing that you're reaching a breaking point and being like, hey, I need to get away from you for a minute, you know, and that could be to your spouse, to your kids, to your friends. Like if you have friends that are a little bit much sometimes, like sometimes it's like, okay, I will talk to you again, but just like give me a few days. Like that's what self-care is, and it is valid. Like, is it being overused and is it being kind of bastardized sometimes? Sure, but it is still accurate. You still need it.
Everything's being bastardized somehow, somewhere by somebody.
Exactly. Everything is.
I mean, fuck's been a thing forever, so I'm sure that's on its way out.
The what is?
Fuck.
You think the word?
No, it's not. It'll never go away.
I was about to say that actually kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, but I love that word. What do you?
No, it's the best.
No, like I really, honestly, I'm loving this talk though, because like it is hard. It is, and I feel like there is this expectation that we're going to be a certain way after we have kids, and yeah, and people.
This. You're the one that decided to have a kid.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm also the one who decided to punch you in the face or walk out of the room, depending on how much I like or don't like you.
Oh my God. I hate when people say that. I hate that. I hate it. They don't say that to people about, like, if someone starts complaining about like their spouse or their significant other, people aren't like, stop complaining. You're the one who decided to date him. Nobody says that.
Or even more ridiculous, I have heard about this, but people are way less likely to say, you're the one that decided to get a fucking dog. No, everyone's excited about that goddamn dog. You're so excited about that dog. But your kid, you're just stupid. Like, come on.
It's like,
you're the one who decided to have a kid. Yeah, I did. Bye.
Right. And it's like, and so here's the thing too. I was one of those people before I had kids who 100% thought that I understood what it was like to have kids without having them. I will 100% admit that I was one of those people who would like, and I never said anything out loud, but I would watch people and be like, I don't understand why that person's not just doing this thing with their kid. Like, if I had kids, they would never do that because I would never do that. And then I had children and I was like, wow, I was a dumbass.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I am an idiot. And it's like, that's the thing I think that really kills me is that people go, well, you're the one who chose to have kids. And it's like, you don't know what you're getting into. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many nieces, nephews, whatever you have. You don't know. You do not know how much, like, I still have people who, as a matter of fact, we had posted about this on Instagram. One of my friends did, where they were like, you know, thanks for the friends that have stuck with me when I haven't had time to hang out with them, blah, blah, blah. And this one girl was like, well, I have a 3-month-old and I still have time to see my friends. And I was like,
you have a bologna loaf. You don't have a baby.
A bologna loaf.
Like, no.
And it's like, good, even if this carries through till they're like, you know, a teenager, whatever, good for you. But you have some sort of luck that the rest of us don't. Like, you don't realize how much time a kid takes until you have one. And then you're like, they take time and energy, and I'm exhausted at the end of the day because I'm trying to be a productive ass person and take care of a kid. And the next thing you know, you're just like, you know what? I just don't have it in me to see anybody today. I just don't.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I hate that so much. Oh, well, you chose to have kids. Okay. Like,
somehow I also chose you. So you know what? There's something going on.
I mean, I chose to have this conversation with you. So clearly I am not the best at decisions anyway. Yeah, it's dumb. And like, all the more reason I think that you need to have parent friends. Like, some people feel like they don't, well, I don't need parent friends. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, if you really feel that way, cool, but disagree. I mean, you need people who understand where you're coming from. You do. And you can have people who don't. That's totally cool. But you do need people, who are going to get it when you, like, I think I've mentioned to you before that you are going to be in my book in a way. And
I forgot about that.
Yes. And I will tell you, it has to do with you actually showing me that the way that we talk about our kids is therapeutic. And a lot of people don't realize that it's normal. And
are you going to quote me? What did I say?
So what happened, and actually, yes, I am. What had happened was, It was when my son was 2, and I was struggling with him a lot because he was my first toddler, and it was just like he went from my sweet happy baby to the
What the fuck?
devil.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure how to deal with it. And we were really struggling with figuring out discipline at work. We were struggling with him screaming at me all the time. He was angry all the time. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And I realized that I did not like my son at that point. And I was freaking out. I was like, I don't understand why I don't like him. Is this normal? Like, I was actually, when my husband would come home from work, I would actually kind of push the kid in his direction and be like, please don't make me be alone with him anymore, was basically like what was going on. And and I felt really bad. I was like, I don't understand. Is this bad? Is this normal? Am I a monster that I don't want to be near my own child? And then you texted me one day and you said, and I quote,
oh God, you have it in writing?
I don't. I mean, I probably do, but I haven't gone back to go check on it. And that was like 2-3 phones ago. So probably not.
Good luck. Okay, cool.
So
I'm going to deny this so much.
You're going to be like, I don't know what she's talking about. She's totally making shit up. But like you texted me and you said, and I quote, do you want to go out to dinner or get drinks or something soon? My kid is being an asshole. I need to get away from him for a while. And I remember you sent that to me and it was like a fog lifted. It was like a weight off my chest and other cliches that are in that line. It was just basically like, I realized, holy crap, like I am not the only one who goes through that sometimes where you're just like, oh my God, you're an asshole. I can't be around you right now. Like, I love you. I still do, but I need to not be near you.
Yeah.
And that was something that I was like, wow, like I would not have known that. I would not have realized that that was normal. Was it not for the fact that I was hearing this from someone who was going through the exact same thing as me, because Logan, I think, is my son's age, or close to it. It was important because had I not had a friend who was in that same trench with me, who was able to, unknowingly or not, verify that, yeah, sometimes you don't want to be around your kids, I think I would have been overtaken with so much shame and guilt that really didn't need to be there. And you saying that to me is actually part of the reason that I'm comfortable being open about it now.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
I know. Because I'm open about it now, because I'm like, man, that fixed me. I can't be the only one who's out there like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me that I don't like my kids sometimes, or that I don't like my kids sometimes for multiple days or weeks in a row. Like, so, it's important to have all of that to say that it's important to have people who can let you know that you are not abnormal for the things that you go through.
And I have to say, and this isn't me saying don't talk about it in the book, don't add this in the podcast at all. But knowing that is information people will have, that I would have said something like that, like actually stresses me out. Cause like I still have that shame hard. Like I know who I can say it to and it won't, but it's a shame that really shouldn't be there. Like no. I say it like, he's being an asshole because, that's who I am. To me, it's funny. Like, I don't really think my child is an asshole and I hate him. And I think he's like turning out to be, but asshole's a funny word to me. So I'm like, oh, he's a real asshole. And referring to a tiny person who has no like negative, like thoughts or feelings and calling him an asshole. It's funny. But yeah, like the thought of like my family hearing that I have said that, I'm like, oh, that's not, no, I love him so much, guys. I swear.
No, and I can understand that. I mean, here's the thing. I am super, super vocal about the fact that we should not have to preface things like that with "I love my child," but
oh my God, yeah. I do that every time.
Right?
Well, not with you.
No, actually, no, I think because you know better.
I think it's like a tick almost. Yeah. Like you have to justify like, hey, I'm going to be this real person and say this thing that. So it's kind of funny, but also it's like really, really real right now. But I'm really not a bad person. Okay, you ready? Here it comes. Like,
And we shouldn't be worried about that. But like you said, we are.
No.
We are, because we're not supposed to ever think negative things about our kids. And that's why you need people who are able to tell you, hey, Andrea, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
During this time, we started talking about a mutual friend of ours who is very real and honest about the days when she feels less than fuzzy about her kids. She's awesome, and I'll probably have her here at some point. But in the meantime, I want to point out something very important here. She is a person who's taught us that honesty can help to unite others. And Andrea was actually pretty surprised to find out that she's one of those people too. For me.
No, she's so incredibly honest, and I love that. And I feel like maybe because I'm looking for it more, I'm seeing it more, and I think that that's great. I think that we need more of that. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to be, because I'm also very vocal about the fact that I don't think that anybody owes us anything. And if people don't feel comfortable saying it, they shouldn't have to. But I think and people shouldn't have to pretend that they feel that way either. If they don't, they don't. But I think that, the important thing is removing the shame that comes with it, though. I think that, we need to stop having people who shame us or feeling that way.
But it's still okay not to like it. I'm if you don't like that I said that, that's cool. Don't shame me over it. But if you're if you don't hang out with me because I say stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna be like, who the fuck is paying? I'll be like, all right, that's not her jam. I mean, I have some friends that I do clean it up for. I don't curse very often. And if I do on accident, I'm kind of like, dial it back. And
pull it back, Andrea. Pull it back.
And so it's I'm like, don't be you. No, and it's I'm not offended if someone doesn't care for that kind. I'm okay not saying that around. So if I think your friendship is worth it and you don't like that, I will make a point of not saying that's fine. I have Arianna. I can go tell her that my kid's a fucking asshole.
You can.
So it's not I don't think people should just accept it without, any kind of it's still don't shame me. Also, don't feel like you can't dislike that.
Right. Well,
I'm not trying to tell everyone that's it's how it is. You should feel like that too.
No, of course not. No, people don't have to. That's the thing here. We don't have to always agree on the right way to parent. That's not the point. The point is just because you disagree with how I see things or how I say things, that does not mean that I'm doing things wrong or that my kids are not going to grow up well or that they're in some sort of danger. And
they might be. It's hard to say.
Well, if they are, it's not going to be from my thoughts. That's all I'm saying. Okay. There are plenty of things in my house that they can break or run into. I am the least of their worries.
You're not Professor X. You're not Jean Grey. You're good.
At all.
Last but not least, for those of you who feel like you still haven't found your people, whether you're sarcastic and snappy like Andrea and me, or you're more quiet and reserved, we get that it can be a lot of work, but it's important to keep going. Or, as Andrea puts it,
it's okay to be lonely. It's okay to have to wait to find someone that is going to be your people. Sometimes it takes a long time and it's going to feel like the worst, but don't think it's the end because it hasn't happened right away. Because chances are you're a unique flower and you need other unique flowers that fit you. And that's okay because we're all different and the same and all of that shit. So look for your people. Be okay being lonely. Be okay feeling like calling your kid an asshole might be a mean thing, but it feels good anyway. You do you, boo.
You do
that kind of thing.
You do you and be patient. It'll happen.
Yeah. Patience and silver linings and all that stuff. It's just
okay.
All of the fun, the fluttery
all
things.
The fun stuff. Okay, yeah. I think that's it. So
is that a good one?
Yes.
Is that okay?
It's
okay,
perfect.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
The NYAM Project podcast is written and produced by me, Arianna Bradford. To find out more about us, you can visit our website at wearenyam.com or on social media under the NYAM Project. Thanks again to Andrea for giving us some of her time today, and we'll see you next time.